Why is it that so many men spend hundreds of dollars on elaborate dinners, concert tickets, and Instagram-worthy experiences, only to find themselves ghosted or friend-zoned a week later? You followed all the conventional dating advice. You made reservations at that trendy restaurant everyone's talking about. You dressed impeccably. You paid for everything. And yet, something isn't clicking. Think about it. When was the last time an expensive dinner actually made her feel genuinely connected to you? When did that overpriced cocktail bar actually create the kind of emotional intimacy that makes her think about you when you're not around? The truth is uncomfortable but liberating. The fancy date approach is often a shortcut that bypasses what actually matters in building attraction and connection. It's a culturally reinforced script that many of us follow without questioning whether it actually works. You were taught that impressing a woman means showing her how much you can spend, how well you can plan, how sophisticated your tastes are. It's as if dating has become a performance where the man with the best production budget wins. But this approach has created a prison, one where your value is tied to what you can provide materially rather than who you are emotionally. The problem isn't the nice restaurant or the thoughtful planning. The problem is what these expensive dates often represent, a substitute for genuine vulnerability and connection. They can become a shield that protects you from having to truly reveal yourself, from having to engage in the messy, imperfect art of authentic human connection. But if I don't take her somewhere impressive, how will I stand out? I hear you asking. How will I show her I'm worth her time? This question reveals exactly where the misunderstanding lies. Your worth isn't demonstrated by the exclusivity of the venue or the price of the wine list. It's revealed in your ability to create emotional resonance, to make her feel seen and understood in ways that perhaps no one else has before. Consider what happens on these elaborate dates. Often you're both slightly uncomfortable, hyper-aware of social expectations, focused on making the right impression rather than being present. The background noise makes deep conversation difficult. The formality creates distance rather than closeness. And afterward, you're both evaluating the experience rather than feeling transformed by it. The fancy date paradigm creates another problem. It establishes a pattern that becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. When material impressiveness becomes the foundation of your connection, you're building on shifting sand. There will always be someone who can plan a more extravagant experience, spend more money, or take her somewhere more exclusive. So what's the alternative? What's the approach that creates genuine desire, that makes her think about you when you're not around, that makes her wonder when she'll see you again? It's surprisingly simple, though not necessarily easy. Create experiences that facilitate emotional intimacy and authentic connection. This doesn't mean you need to have deep, serious conversations about your childhood trauma on the first date. It means creating space for genuine interaction that goes beyond surface-level pleasantries and performative impressiveness. Let me give you some concrete alternatives. Instead of taking her to that overpriced restaurant where you'll barely be able to hear each other, suggest a cooking class together. The act of creating something side by side naturally breaks down barriers. It gives you both something to focus on besides the pressure of conversation, while still allowing for meaningful interaction. The shared accomplishment creates a bond, and the casual environment allows for authentic personality to emerge. Rather than that exclusive rooftop bar, consider a sunset hike to a beautiful viewpoint with a simple picnic. The physical activity releases endorphins, creating positive associations with your time together. The changing scenery provides natural conversation starters, and reaching the destination together creates a sense of shared achievement. Instead of passive entertainment like a movie or show, try an interactive museum exhibit, a local art gallery opening, or even a bookstore where you can share recommendations and discover each other's interests. These environments provide built-in conversation material while revealing your values and perspectives in organic ways. The key is to choose activities that allow for three critical elements: mutual engagement, progressive self-disclosure, and the creation of shared memories. Mutual engagement means you're both active participants rather than passive consumers. You're doing something together, not just sitting across from each other or side by side watching something happen. This joint participation creates a sense of teamwork and collaboration, which neurologically reinforces connection. Progressive self-disclosure is the gradual, reciprocal sharing of increasingly personal information. The right environments and activities naturally facilitate this without forcing it. When you're engaged in something interactive, vulnerabilities and authentic reactions emerge organically, rather than feeling like an interview or interrogation. Creating shared memories gives your connection staying power. When you do something novel or slightly challenging together, It creates a unique experience that belongs only to the two of you. The brain remembers distinctive experiences more vividly than routine ones, which means she's more likely to think about your time together afterward. Now, I'm not suggesting you should never take her to a nice restaurant or plan an impressive evening. I'm saying those experiences should be seasoning, not the main course of your dating life. They should complement the foundation of genuine connection, not substitute for it. There's another powerful advantage to this approach. It filters for compatibility much more effectively than conventional dating. When you create experiences centered around authentic interaction rather than surface-level impressiveness, you discover much more quickly whether you actually enjoy each other's company, share important values, and have genuine chemistry. Think about it. How often have you realized after several expensive dates that you and this person don't actually connect that deeply? The impressive venues and activities can mask fundamental incompatibilities, leading to wasted time and emotional investment. But when you're working through a challenging rock climbing route together, or getting lost while exploring a new neighborhood, or debating the merits of different authors in a bookstore, the real person emerges much more quickly. You see how she handles frustration, what makes her curious, what makes her laugh genuinely rather than politely. This approach also changes the dynamic from evaluation to exploration. Traditional dating often feels like a series of assessments. Is she impressed enough? Am I meeting her standards? This creates anxiety and self-consciousness that prevent authentic connection. When you're engaged in a shared activity with the primary goal of mutual enjoyment and discovery, the interaction becomes about exploration rather than evaluation. You're both discovering whether you enjoy each other's company rather than trying to prove you're worthy of each other's time. There's a vulnerability in this approach that many men find uncomfortable. It requires you to be present, engaged, and authentic rather than hiding behind the social script of the impressive date planner. It means being willing to reveal your real personality, including your quirks and imperfections, rather than presenting a carefully curated image. But this vulnerability is precisely what creates the emotional resonance that makes her think about you when you're not around. When you allow her to see the real you, not just the version that can secure reservations at exclusive restaurants, you create the possibility for genuine connection. And this is what creates desire that lasts beyond the evening. It's not about being seen with you at the right places. It's about feeling something with you that she doesn't feel with others. It's about the quality of attention and presence you bring, not the impressiveness of the venue or activity. So here's my challenge to you. For your next date, plan something that facilitates authentic interaction rather than something designed primarily to impress. Choose an activity that allows for conversation, movement, and shared discovery. Pay attention to how different it feels, not just for her, but for you as well. Notice how much more you learn about each other in these contexts. Notice how the conversation flows more naturally when you have shared experiences to discuss rather than just exchanging information. Notice how much more memorable these interactions become compared to the formulaic dinner and drinks routine. The most powerful realization is that this approach not only creates more meaningful connections, it's actually more enjoyable for you as well. Instead of performing the role of the impressive date planner, you get to be present and engaged in experiences that are genuinely interesting and fun. This isn't about manipulating her into wanting more. It's about creating the conditions where genuine connection can flourish, where you both can discover whether there's something real between you worth pursuing further. The truth is, what makes someone want more isn't the impressiveness of your spending power or social capital.